Hi, everyone. I'm Yvonne Ellefson, and I'm a program manager on the Android accessibility team. Later, you'll get to meet my colleague, Isaac. We're excited to share the latest updates we've built in collaboration with the disability community. For some of the features we'll talk about, there will be QR codes on the screen to jump to that feature on your phone or a support article about the feature. You can also check the video description for specific links. Here's an example of a QR code which takes you to the support article on this deep link feature. Whether you're here to see new features or you're a developer looking to build better experiences, we have a lot to cover. From AI-powered updates to tools and best practices to make the most of Android accessibility features. Let's dive in. First, let's take a look at TalkBack, our screen reader. Last year, we brought Gemini to TalkBack to turn simple descriptions into vivid, detailed scene descriptions and unlock the ability to ask follow-up questions. We also launched screen descriptions, providing the spoken equivalent of a glance to help you get oriented when you enter an unfamiliar new page. This year, we're upgrading to Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite, providing even more precise, reliable descriptions of images and screens. While this doesn't replace the need for high-quality metadata, it provides instant context for the millions of unlabeled images across the web or images from your friends. We've also expanded support to 38 languages, bringing these AI-driven tools to users worldwide in their native languages. Whether you're asking for more detail about a photo in a group chat or getting a summary of a complex web page, the integration is now more capable than ever before. We heard your feedback. Speed and quality both matter. To address this, we're introducing two distinct voice upgrades. First, a new highly efficient TTS voice, combined with an innovative announcement cache, slashes typing latency by 37%, making every interaction feel instantaneous.
Welcome to TalkBack.
Second, for a more immersive experience, we've added a high-quality, natural-sounding voice that brings a human touch to long-form reading and daily navigation.
Welcome to TalkBack.
This will be coming to recent Pixel devices, including the Pixel 8, 9, and 10. We're also making voice input more intuitive with a new dictation gesture. A simple two-finger double tap instantly starts voice typing, and TalkBack automatically reads back the transcribed text to ensure better accuracy before you hit send. For keyboard users, we've overhauled physical keyboard support. The new enhanced key map introduces over 100 new commands using the Action key as a dedicated modifier, making it much easier to navigate your device. In addition, Browse Mode now supports single-key navigation, allowing you to move through the web with much greater efficiency. We've also brought customization to Braille keyboards and displays, allowing you to map gestures and Braille display buttons to fit your specific workflow. Now let's take a look at some of the system features. First up, expanded dark theme. For users sensitive to light, a bright white screen isn't just a nuisance. It can be a physical barrier to using their phone. Expanded dark theme is our helpful fallback to automatically darken apps that don't have their own dark theme, ensuring your screen stays comfortable for your eyes when you need it. To enable, visit your dark theme settings and choose the expanded option. If you encounter an app that doesn't look right with expanded dark theme, you can toggle the app-specific setting off to revert back to the app-supported theme. We continue to encourage developers to ship their own officially supported dark theming. For more resources on how to develop dark-themed apps, visit developer.android.com. We have some quick updates for Android's magnification feature, which allows you to zoom into any app on your screen. Magnification can now help you zoom into the on-screen keyboard. We've heard from our users that this is super helpful to better see emojis, GIFs, GIFs, or symbols before you send them. Now you can confidently choose the perfect emoji when sending a text message. Also, for anyone who loves using an Android device for productivity tasks like taking notes in class, you can now use a connected keyboard and mouse to control magnification. Keyboard shortcuts offer quick access to zooming in and out, and mouse following keeps the magnified region focused on your mouse position. Mouse following has 3 modes which offer different benefits for orienting yourself or limiting motion sickness, so we recommend you try them out and see what works best for you. You can find these new features in the Magnification Settings page in your device's Settings app under the Accessibility section. Next, let's talk about hand fatigue. As screens get bigger, that can also mean the back button for some users gets further away. Android now allows you to reorder the 3-button navigation menu to keep your thumbs happy. When you set up a new device using your old one, your button layout comes right along with you. No more relearning how to navigate. Just a quick reminder that we want to hear from you. You may have noticed prompts asking for user feedback on accessibility system features. If an accessibility feature is helping you, or if it needs work, tell us. Your feedback is how we make these devices more inclusive for everyone. If you find a tool useful and you want to share with friends, go to g.co/android/A11y deep links to find a short way to share. Accessibility deep links directly open the right settings so your friends and family can quickly find the settings they need on their Android devices. More comfort, better design, and a system that actually listens to its users. That's what we're building. There are a couple of other recently released features that we want to highlight in case you've missed them. We've brought Fast Pair to select hearing aid partners, allowing users to connect their hearing aids quickly and easily. Another helpful feature is Guided Frame, a Google camera accessibility feature available on Pixel, which uses AI, audio cues, and haptic feedback to help blind or low vision users frame photos and know more about the contents of their images. Earlier this year, we brought new languages to Guided Frame and now support offline scene description. With Guided Frame, you can take the perfect photo with confidence, now enhanced with Gemini and available in more than 50 languages with 20 on device. This feature provides real-time descriptive audio and haptic feedback through your viewfinder, offering users with blindness or low vision a detailed and natural understanding of the scene. Whether you're capturing a sunset or a group portrait, your Pixel helps you frame every shot independently and effortlessly, even without an internet connection. Next, I'll hand it over to Isaac, who will talk to you about voice access updates and the latest developer and API updates.
Thanks, Yvonne. I'm Isaac Chai, and I'm software engineer on Android accessibility team. Let's jump into more updates and features. Voice access lets you control your device with spoken commands. Simplified activation flow. Voice access has introduced a major change to how users turn on listening for the feature. Before, users had to find and tap a silent notification to enable listening mode, or manage 2 separate floating shortcuts to activate the overall feature and the listening state. Now, voice access offers a unified Android accessibility shortcut in settings that controls the listening mode, and the shortcut appears automatically. To turn listening on or off, simply tap the floating voice access shortcut. If you don't like the default floating shortcut, you can turn listening on or off using the volume keys, accessibility gesture, or the navigation bar accessibility button instead. Gemini activation. Based on community feedback, we know that needing to physically tap your phone's screen to start voice access can be challenging. Now, once the feature is enabled on your device, you can launch it directly with Gemini. Just say, "Hey Google, start voice access," and begin controlling your phone entirely hands-free. To pause listening, you can say, "Stop listening." Text editing improvements. You can type, edit, and replace words with voice access. We've improved voice access's ability to recognize punctuation and interact directly. Want to fix something you just typed? Use the word replace or delete commands. For example, replace apples with kiwis. Next up, improvements during phone calls. Voice access is off by default during phone calls due to privacy concerns. You can go to the Settings, Accessibility, Voice Access, Settings, and turn on the feature Active during phone calls. Also, we have the option Activate for incoming calls to automatically turn listening mode on, so you can accept a call via voice without having to toggle listening on first. Speech improvements and language expansion. We have improved speech recognition for better understand your commands. Additionally, we now support Japanese. Large screen. We have also made improvements to voice access on large screen devices, with bigger default size for numbers and labels, and larger grid for less visually dense experience. We've also made it easier to use voice access across multiple windows. Now, commands only apply to the foreground applications, which prevent accidental interactions with hidden content and reduces the amount of visual labels on your screen. To switch to a different window, use Show Recent Apps command. Now, let's jump into developers updates you've been waiting for. Many of the previously discussed features require app developer support to maximize their benefits for users. We're going to touch on a few of those opportunities related to new platform features, then recap some important best practices and tools to help apps reach their full potential. Dark theming is increasingly popular and has become essential for modern, high-quality apps. Expanded dark theme as one of our newer system features is our safety net, acting as a vital fallback to ensure apps stay dark when users need them to. Automatic theming can be very impactful for those with vision impairments and light sensitivity. However, it's not perfect and may result in some less desirable experiences when the existing heuristics do not detect the need for inversion, or when resulting color don't reflect the developer's intent. We strongly recommend that developers implement their own dark theme for an optimal experience across the widest range of Android devices. For those that don't, they should thoroughly test their apps with expanded dark theme available on devices running Android 16, QPR2, API level 36.1 and later. We now offer a common library to implement pinch-to-zoom gestures for supporting scalable content in your app. This provides a standard platform-consistent method for improving visual accessibility by allowing users to intuitively and immediately adjust the size of text and UI elements to fit their needs. When pinch-to-zoom was added to the Live Transcribe app, over 94% of font size changes were made with the gesture instead of app settings. This shows users prefer and find intuitive gestures faster than separate menu options. Build this control into your Jetpack Compose app by following the tutorial links in the notes below. Next up, magnification. Android is adding support for users to choose how the OS level display magnification behaves in response to certain actions, particularly related to typing and navigating with keyboards. In order to support magnification working reliably with these interactions, developers need to provide some additional information when they use the Request Rectangle On-Screen API, which can be used to programmatically move UI into the user's view. We've added a new overloaded method for this API, which is available starting at API level 36.1. It accepts a new parameter that identifies a request source, the reason for the request to move content into view. This is because the app is requesting or emulating a change in focus position, is scrolling a list to move certain content on screen, is changing the input cursor or caret position such as when the users type. We've implemented several built-in components to handle this correctly without requiring additional work, but custom UI implementations that directly invoke Request Rectangle on screen may need to provide this information themselves. Moving on to more accessibility best practices. As we discussed earlier, there have been several key improvements in TalkBack in the last year, one of which is that we continue to improve image description features. TalkBack can automatically offer detailed information about images and photos. Similar to other accessibility features, developers play an important role in ensuring this feature works well across apps. We continue to recommend providing your own descriptive and localized accessibility labels throughout your UIs, since you know best what your UI is conveying. But in case where that's not possible, such as where images from user-generated content are displayed, there's another important step in ensuring this image description feature works well. Declaring image semantics from UI elements that may benefit from additional descriptions will cue TalkBack to offer or automatically generate image description. When using Compose, this is accomplished by using or extending an image composable. If you are still using views, be sure to use an image view, image button, or one of their subclasses. If you are using a custom view, override getAccessibility class name and return android.widget.imageView instead. As Android's accessibility APIs continue to evolve, we are focusing on providing the ability for app developers to convey a richer set of UI semantics that are able to generalize to a wider range of assistive technologies. We continue to move away from APIs and practices that are tied to the behaviors of specific accessibility services. Last year, we announced the deprecation of accessibility announcement APIs in SDK 36. Use of this functionality often over-optimized the experience for users of screen readers and can lead to inconsistent and sometimes disruptive experiences. We have been increasingly encouraging developers to move away from these APIs for several consecutive releases and plan to end support for them in TalkBack in the future. As that occurs, TalkBack will no longer provide feedback for these announcements on newer runtime versions. In addition to searching your codebase for these APIs, you can test them by enabling TalkBack's speech output overlay in TalkBack developer settings. The overlay turns red when TalkBack produces feedback from announcements, as you can see in this example. If your app relies on type announcement accessibility events or use views announce for accessibility method, now is the time to migrate to more semantic alternative. Here are several alternatives you can use in place of announcements. Providing descriptive labels that clearly communicate actions associated with UI elements, so confirmation announcements for most user actions are no longer necessary. Using window and pane titles to convey a high-level description for activities and fragments, which are described by TalkBack automatically during transition. Defining live regions on UI elements that appear temporarily or update their description if users should be made aware of related content changes. For more details, check out the Announce for Accessibility API documentation linked from the description below. We are happy to share that we've recently released an updated version of Accessibility Scanner for Android, which can help catch many common types of accessibility issues, including missing accessibility labels required for screen readers like TalkBack, touch targets that are too small to reliably support interaction, text and images with low color contrast against their backgrounds, and various other UI issues that may impact usability with Android's assistive technologies. Scanner is a great way to run a quick test if you're building a new UI, if you briefly want to put your apps through its paces and release, or due to accessibility. We also recommend testing your app using Android's assistive technologies, putting yourself in users' shoes. To learn more about how to test your app for accessibility, check out the developer's guide on developer.android.com. The best apps, the apps that reach the largest populations, are those that take into account the widest range of users' need. While we covered a lot of the platform capabilities in this session, it is up to you to meet all the accessibility requirements relevant to your product. As developers, you are in the driver's seat when it comes to designing and building with these users in mind. Thank you for doing your part in building an ecosystem of accessible apps.
That's a wrap on our updates for this year. We hope these new features and tools help you in your daily life and to create amazing accessible experiences. Don't forget to check the links in the description for the full documentation and more details. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for making the world a little more accessible. We'll see you next time.